What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
We can stop a demon's special skills in this space, and a demon without magic is hardly anything to fear. Farraga began secretly giving instructions to his subordinates. His orders: to point their magic canceller at the ship's interior. It'd shut down their magic amplifier cannon, disarm their spell guns, and turn the magicians in the crew into plain old helpless people. But that was exactly what Farraga wanted. Block off a monster's magicules, and the threat was gone, and the same was true for demons, too. Just take care of that stop, and the magic a demon fights with is off the table. If you were waging a magic battle against an archdemon, all the sorcerers in the world couldn't give you a chance at victory. It was much better to create a position of superiority for yourself to start with, increasing your odds of coming out on top. Keeping his gun in everyone's sight, Farraga surreptitiously put a hand on the saber at his waist. Then he kept talking, endeavoring to keep Ultima's attention.
I'm surprised Veldora wrangled up a demon assistant like you.
Huh, Sir Veldora?
No need to hide it. What other reason would you have for being here, apart from coming to your lord's rescue?
No. I am the faithful servant of Sir Rimuru.
The servant of the demon lord Rimuru? Come on, she's clearly here to rescue Veldora. No, he had never received any briefings that indicated Veldora had people working for him. Whether she served Veldora or a demon lord, that was just a triviality.
My pardons. So you're here to save Veldora, aren't you?
What are you talking about? I just told you I'm here to ask some questions. Don't you listen to people?
Somehow, they didn't seem to be on the same page. Is she bluffing? I don't see the point of hiding it, but what the hell does she want? Farraga began to get a vague sense of uneasiness, as if he was wrong about something, like he was making some kind of big mistake.
So what do you want to ask me?
Ultima smiled, like she had been waiting for this all day, then with that same smile still on her face.
Well, how this ship works and how to control it, for one. That's pretty important. Also, the remaining military forces in the Empire. Like, how many really strong guys do you have and stuff like that, as much as you know, okay?
Her innocent attitude felt like nothing but disrespect to Farraga. If she's messing with me, then fine. I'll admit she's kind of a trickster, but what can one person do? He still had his concerns, but that was how he truly felt. All their preparations would be done soon, and they had the perfect counter to deal with a demon. Out the corner of his eye, he saw a signal that everything was ready. Their victory was now assured. Farraga regained his composure.
You think I'm just going to give that to you?
No, not really, but I guess that doesn't really matter. Got my tea ready yet? I've kinda been waiting a while.
I've got something even better than tea for you.
As if shaking off any remaining hesitation, Farraga pulled the trigger. The bullet flew away, signaling the start of battle, and just as it did, the magic cancel came into effect across the airship. The weapon in Farraga's hand was not a spellgun. It was a Colt Government 1911, a military-grade semi-automatic pistol manufactured by the Colt Firearms Company in the US. It was an antique, brought over here by an otherworlder, and Farraga cherished it so much that he never missed a day of maintenance on it. It was loaded with a 7+1 round, and its nickname of hand cannon came from its use of large-caliber bullets, specially made at great expense. But this Colt was only a diversion. As a spiritual life form, basic weapons meant nothing to a demon anyway. An incarnated demon might have felt a little pain, but that was it. With a deft hand, Farraga released the safety and fired off its full array of bullets. He had no optimism about gunning her down with them. Only those with a death wish would look down on an archdemon like that. And as soon as the sound stopped, Farraga saw he was right. Ultima was seated in her chair, not a care in the world, as she lifted up her left hand and let 8 bullets drop to the floor. He didn't know how she did that without magic, but the bullets were drained of their kinetic energy, and Ultima's hand was unhurt.
That's a pretty fun-looking toy you got there, but I like the one Sir Rimuru has more.
Oh yeah? Well, this one's my favorite.
The results were honestly more disappointing than expected, but they didn't surprise Farraga. Holstering his gun, he then took out the saber on his hip. This was a magic saber, but it still retained its powers even with a magic canceller influencing it. Using Farraga's own magic force to keep a steady flow of magicules running inside the blade, it could produce an even greater effect than a magic or a sword-infused blade. Magic swords worked against demons, he knew that, and if he could destroy this physical body of hers, she'd never be able to withstand the magic canceller. Off to the demon world with you. Farraga was a wizard but also a talented sword fighter. He didn't go out of his way to show that off, but he was proud to say that he was as good as any famous sword fighter out there. That was why, even in this magic-blocked environment, Farraga could keep calm. Ultima, too, remained unfazed despite the magic canceller doing its work on her. That, Farraga coldly assumed, was fake bravado, and he wasn't about to let his foe's performance fool him.
So how's it feel to have all your fancy magic blocked?
Farraga sneered. Ultima responded with a puzzled expression.
Getting impatient, aren't you? Well, this little chat is over, accursed demon.
The air around Farraga changed, an invisible thread of tension stretched out between him and Ultima.
Huh, you wanna go?
Ultima asked.
Of course. What kind of dimwit would ever make a deal with the devil?
Dimwit? Hey, are you talking about me?
Who else, you fool? Can't you understand that? Let me tell you one thing. You want to know who's strong in this empire? Well, I'm one of them.
Taking advantage of Ultima's brief reply, Farraga thrust his saber into the air. It was a master-level stab technique aimed at Ultima's heart, a true finisher that not even a magic-born could evade. But
then I'll kill you last.
Farraga heard a voice behind him. His killing blow didn't even touch Ultima in her seat. Instead, it went right through the chair, putting a hole in it. Shockingly, the girl had somehow gone from being right in front of him to right behind him. That was the unbelievable truth Farraga had to face.
If you don't want to have a conversation, that's fine. I'm still gonna have you answer my questions, though. But don't worry. You don't have to say anything. I'll just take the knowledge from you myself.
With an innocent smile, Ultima looked around at the soldiers and officers watching her. Then in a horribly chilling voice, she said,
Okay, let's start with you first.
Farraga quickly spun around. Some kind of round mass flew past his side before slamming against the wall, leaving a stain. It was a human head. One of his now dead aides fell to the floor, then began convulsing, as if he forgot he was supposed to do that until just that moment.
Well, he didn't know much, did he? Okay, let's keep going.
With that, she randomly ripped off the head of another officer, played with it a bit in her fingers for a few seconds, then discarded it. This was now a process, and one she began to repeat with a steady rhythm, leaving a growing pile of corpses behind her. Now the bridge was transformed into a hellscape of shrieking and terror.
Turn the magic canceller up to maximum. Contact the other ships and have them focus their sights on our flagship.
The magicians in attendance were panicking, but Farraga's demands brought them back to their senses. Hurriedly, they followed the orders and sprang into action.
Is this magic canceller your new weapon and stuff? It sends out random commands to local magicules to inhibit magic casting, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm sure that works on lots of monsters, but did you think it'd work on me?
Ultima asked that question with just the most adorable head tilt. It was greeted with a near scream from Farraga.
You're bluffing. Don't think you can bluff your way out of this.
I dunno about that. I mean, if I was a mystic beast built up from magicules, then yeah, I feel that'd have a pretty good effect. But don't you think it's kind of a waste of time to point that at me if I've already incarnated into this body?
What?
Besides, maybe it'd be a different story with a lower-level demon, but not a high-end one, you know? Because when we're conscious, magic just kinda happens naturally with us, like you guys and breathing. Like this, see?
With that, Ultima disappeared. At the same time, the head of the communications officer sitting at the end of the command deck flew off. Ultima had completed the job in an instant.
Did you see that? All I did was move a bit, and it sent that man's head up in the air. I was going faster than the speed of sound, but you didn't feel any sonic boom, did you? That's magic, you know. And also,
Ultima gave her hand a little shake. Her fingertips seemed to blur for a bit, as if in a haze. Then with the sound of something wet whapping into a hard object, the head of the aide standing next to Farraga burst apart.
You see? If I want a shockwave, it's easy. All I have to do is follow the laws of physics, and ta-da.
It was such an innocent way to calmly describe an atrocious act. She felt no guilt about it whatsoever.
No.
Farraga muttered to himself. Now he was finally understanding her. The common sense he had spent his life developing got in the way of comprehending any of this. It was such a strange feeling, like she was speaking a language from some faraway foreign nation. His instincts refused to accept it. Was she really an archdemon? Even after all this time, Farraga was still pondering the true identity of Ultima. In terms of actual strength, Farraga was a good match for an archdemon, but a lot depended on age. A newborn one, he could beat all by himself. Against an ancient one or older, that'd be too much for him. but a lesser noble medieval in age or younger, well, he thought he had a sporting chance. So what was all this about? They had this magic canceller that could keep even Veldora himself pinned down and helpless, but it wasn't working for them at all. And even if Ultima, as this named demon called herself, was physically incarnated, her strength was simply extraordinary. That's what threw Farraga's common sense for a loop so badly. Now he understood that he had no hope at all of beating Ultima, no matter how much he struggled, so he wasted no more time playing his final move against her.
Don't get cocky with me, demon. Summon spirit, Ifrit. Come to me, elemental of the primordial flames.
It was the most powerful of summon spells, offered only to champion-level casters. Farraga alone couldn't master that arcane art, but with the magic amplifier cannon on this ship and 50 magicians helping out, it was now possible. Magic cancellers had only a tiny effect on spirits, which is why such a summoning could even be successful. With a mighty roar, Ifrit materialized on the bridge, thoroughly trashing it. If the spirit was high-level enough to outrank the demon, even an archdemon could be obliterated. Farraga was sure of it as he turned toward Ultima.
I'll admit it, you're a menace. But we've been studying demons for a long, long time, and we're well prepared for them. Sorry, my friend, but it's over for you.
Even with Farraga's strained voice ringing in her ears, Ultima kept smiling. And for the first time in his life, Farraga learned just how awful a smile could really be. You're kidding me. It can't be. There's no way she can beat the Ifrit I summoned. The Ifrit Farraga summoned had been granted the power of 50 magicians working through an amplifier cannon. That made it several times stronger than regular high-level spirits, and whether she was ancient or prehistoric, no archdemon could ever beat him. And yet Farraga's fear persisted.
Don't get carried away just because you summoned that small fry. You really should have started talking while I was still giving you a nice, friendly smile. Now I'm gonna give you nothing but despair.
Ah, it's over. That was the immediate thought, the instinct, in Farraga's mind. And the next moment, right before him and the surviving bridge crew, Ifrit, the embodiment of absolute power, froze and shattered into a million pieces. It was the elemental magic Kokaitis, and Ultima had just launched it without any casting time, as simple as breathing. The poor fools were all crying for what was likely the last time, in a state of complete panic. It was a natural reaction to have. The living personification of death was standing before them.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shout out to the new members of AnimeKouhai supporters: Vongola Tsunasa, Sayonari, Blaine Trevino, Mikia Celesgi, Luis Hernandez, Jay Wright, Alfredo Renteria, Arnav Ajay, Knife Mac, Eman G. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.